The transfer window has gone absolutely crazy this summer with insane fees flying around, and it's not just the top teams who are doing the business and flashing the cash. With the inflated TV money, pretty much every team in the Premier League can hide £20 million at a player, which wouldn't have been possible a few years ago. With the money involved in the Premier League right now, it's even more important for clubs to stay in the top flight, which is why every team is doing so much business in the transfer market. Although the window is still open for another few weeks, we'll be seeing stacks of debuts this weekend. So with the Premier League season set to kick off, let's take a look at the top 10 Premier League signings so far this summer, from up and down the division, which you will all probably disagree with. In at number 10 we've got Darren Fletcher. Surely West Brom have made a mistake by letting Darren Fletcher leave the Hawthorns. The Scottish midfielder's contract at West Brom expired, and rather than stay on with Tony Pulis, the ex-Man United man is headed to Stoke City on a free transfer. While business has been limited at the Bet365 Stadium, the arrival of Fletcher should prove to be a great piece of business, and a step up from the departed Glenn Whelan. West Brom's loss is likely Stoke City's gain. At 9 it's Florian Lejeune. The French defender arrived at Newcastle from Eibar early in the summer for £8.7 million, and it looks to have been a great piece of business by the Magpies. Lejeune was highly rated in La Liga last season, with his heroics at the back helping Eibar finish 10th, which is sensational for a club of their size. Having come up against Ronaldo and Messi last season, Lejeune should be more than ready for the rigours of the Premier League, and he'll face potentially the toughest debut possible, squaring up against the Golden Boot winner Harry Kane this weekend. Next up at 8 we've got Kelechi IHEANACHO. It cost Leicester £25 million to nab the Nigerian striker from Man City, which is a big fee for the 20-year-old, but the Foxes have bought a man who can already score goals at the top level and still has bags of potential. IHEANACHO already has 12 Premier League goals to his name since his debut 2 seasons ago, with most of his goals coming from off the bench, showing how much of an impact he can have in such a short space of time. With Ahmed Musa and Islam Slimani failing last season and Jamie Vardy failing to hit the same heights, Craig Shakespeare needed a new striker, and in IHEANACHO he's nabbed one of the best young strikers in Europe. City clearly still rate him, otherwise they wouldn't have put a buyback clause in his contract. In 7th place we've got Jordan Pickford. He may have been relegated with Sunderland last season, but don't let that fool you, because the Black Cats' demise would have been a lot more graphic if Jordan Pickford hadn't been between the sticks. The England under-21 international cost Everton an initial £25 million, but the fee could rise to 30. But considering Pickford is still only 23 years old, very young for a goalkeeper, then it's great investment from Everton, who could get 15 years out of Pickford. A future England number 1, Pickford has ended Everton's goalkeeping woes. At 6 we've got Nemanja Matic. The biggest fee we've seen on this list so far, Manchester United have stolen Nemanja Matic from Chelsea for a whopping £40 million, much to the annoyance of Antonio Conte, who has lost one of his key components from his Premier League winning side, and to make matters worse, he's joined a title rival. The Serbian midfielder could be the final piece in Jose Mourinho's Old Trafford jigsaw, as he looks to bring the Premier League crown back to the club for the first time since Sir Alex Ferguson left. As we pass the halfway mark, we've got Kyle Walker at 5. The fees keep rising, and this time we've got Manchester City's £45 million move for Kyle Walker, who could end up costing £50 million. The right back was arguably the best in the country last season for Tottenham, and he has been for years, which is why it's such a good signing for Pep Guardiola, whose side had severe defensive issues last season. If they can eradicate those problems, and they should be able to considering how much money they've spent on defenders, with the additional arrivals of Danilo and Benjamin Mendy, who don't make this list, then Man City could put up a greater challenge for the title this year. Into the top 4 and we've got Mohamed Salah. Things didn't work out last time Salah was in the Premier League, with a largely uninspiring spell at Chelsea which saw him last just 1 year before being loaned off to Italy. After first shining at Fiorentina, the Egyptian took his game to a totally new level once he joined Roma, spending 2 seasons in the Italian capital in which he scored 35 goals in 81 Serie A games, averaging just less than a goal every other game, which is pretty impressive for a winger. His form has bagged him a second crack at the Premier League whip, costing Liverpool £34 million. After an impressive pre-season, Salah has made Liverpool's front three look even more dangerous, and his performances could cushion the blow should Philippe Coutinho head to Barcelona. In 3rd place we've got Jermain Defoe. From the super money signings to a free transfer, Bournemouth have pulled off one of the best deals of the summer by getting Jermain Defoe back to the south coast. A clause in his Sunderland contract meant he could leave the Black Cats for nothing if they were relegated, and Bournemouth were the lucky club who managed to get Jermain Defoe's signature. Having prematurely moved to the MLS, DEFOE came back to England to play for Sunderland in 2015, and it didn't take him long to get back in the goal scoring groove. In his past 2 seasons, DEFOE has scored 15 times in each, which is remarkable in a Sunderland team that didn't create any chances. If he gets the service at Bournemouth, signing DEFOE could be a masterstroke from Eddie Howe. In second, it's JAVIER Hernandez. The little P is back in the Premier League, much to the delight of West Ham fans, who have finally landed one of their top striker targets, having been linked with every forward under the sun in the past few transfer windows. Ever since Hernandez burst onto the scene, the Mexican forward has shown just how deadly in front of goal he is, a real poacher, and after Louis van Gaal stupidly got rid of him, Hernandez proved him wrong and started banging the goals in for Bayer Leverkusen as well, scoring 39 goals in 76 games in all competitions. He's a marquee signing for West Ham and a relative bargain at £16 million in the climate we're in right now. And at number 1 it's ROMELU LUKAKU. Bigger isn't always better, but in this case it is, because our number 1 signing of the summer so far is the £90 million deal that took ROMELU LUKAKU from Everton to Manchester United, costing an initial £75 million plus another £15 million in add-ons. Lukaku has hit double figures in his past 5 Premier League seasons, and last year was his best ever in his career, finding the net 25 times in the league. Man United struggled for goals at times last season, but that should be less of a problem now they have the big Belgian, who should link up with Paul Pogba brilliantly. With Lukaku's goals and Matic's presence in midfield, Jose Mourinho is building a team very capable of winning the Premier League. So those are our top 10 Premier League signings of the summer so far. Let us know who yours are in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and check out our newest channel, HITC 7s.